mRNA is changing the way that everybody does vaccines, speed up the process of everything that we do, but that only can be done if we are able to, trace the lineage of all those data sets and make sure that we paint that full picture and the life cycle of that data point. And that's just one data point. And when you think about the everything that we get, that's the challenge, right? Data is extremely powerful. It's the best commodity that any company has these days. But it's only as powerful as the decisions that it can drive. So AI is just, even though it's happening today, the options and the possibilities are endless.
Welcome to the Lost Entrepreneur Podcast. For all the first-time listeners, I am Sebastian Romero, and today we have with us Carlos Peralta, the Director of Data Engineering and Cloud Architecture at Moderna. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sebastian, for having me here. I'm super excited.
So let's move on to the questions. How was the move from Colombia to the States for you? And what was the largest obstacle you faced when you first moved here? And how did you overcome it?
Well, there were a lot of challenges because we come from a very different culture background, right? We moved here almost 13 years ago to the States. And I moved with my wife, we were newlyweds. So there was the first challenge, I would say, it was a cultural challenge. Because coming from a Latin background, we tend to over-celebrate everything. We are very empathetic with people. I'm not saying that Americans are not. It's just it's a little bit different, right? Everything for us is an excuse to celebrate and gather and meet with friends and family. So we came here. We had that like mindset, but we didn't have the family. We didn't have the friends. So it was a challenge to get to know everybody, to establish a new community, and make sure that you have that support system to help your growth. So we came to Memphis, Tennessee first, worked with FedEx there. So we started, understanding the dynamics of the city, the dynamics of the culture, and how you start building those relationships and friendships with people that you live with or that you interact with in your work, right? So it's more of being open. That's how we overcome those challenges, being open to understand other people, to merge with the culture, to understand that we're not going to bring our culture to a new country, right? We want to understand the culture of the country you live in. So that makes us stronger. It really helped us to mingle and understand everything that has happened here. So it was more like, that mindset of being eager to learn and understand other cultures. That's how we overcome those obstacles at the beginning.
That's so great. And I'm guessing that that culture of from Colombia of kind of being really open and just celebrating with everyone kind of helped you mingle with all the Americans.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we are always very friendly and open to learn from everybody. So that helps us a lot, right? Because we had no reservations. We had no pre-established ideas of anything. We were here before. We came here to the United States before, but just as tourists. But we knew that we had to be open for new stuff. So that's how we did it, right? My open mindset and get ready to learn.
That's great. So I know that you are a coder, and as in FedEx, you coded. What made you interested and stick with coding? Because I know a lot of people wish they could code, but usually after let's say 2-3 days of really trying, they just get stuck on a problem and they just sometimes quit.
Yeah, that's a good question because actually my background is in computer science. So coding was part of my life since day one, since I started going to college. So coding is super helpful because it helps you create this mindset and this mental structures of how things work. It is very challenging because it's like learning a new language every day, right? Even though coding is based on programming languages. But the sense of it is that you're learning new structures, new ways to do things step by step. So it creates all these structures in your head that helps you understand and solve problems in a different way. So coding it's a matter of passion. You need to know what you want to get, the idea of creating new stuff every day is what drives me. So I started coding. I was a coder for a long time. I started with languages like C, C++, C#, Java back in the day. So that was pretty cool. So it's just passion. It's just make sure that you have some dedication, that you invest the time in learning. The ability to create new stuff every day is something that only comes when you code. And as I said at the beginning, creating those mental structures help you not only with coding, but helps you with everything else. It helps you with how you organize your projects, how you organize your daily tasks, how you help other teams to achieve those goals, right? You understand those structures, and that I don't know, that gives you an edge over everybody else. I feel like coding should be something that everybody should learn, regardless of your field of expertise or your passion. Coding will help you along the way.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Because in school right now, I'm learning Java, and it's been it's just warped my perspective on how I should approach problems and like what steps I should take to actually like solve them. You have to really understand what you're trying to do and then attack it, which I just find so interesting and great about it. So, what made you switch to a managerial role?
Well, I always had that in mind from day one, that I want to be a manager, a director, or a CTO someday, but I think that in order for you to be a good manager, regardless of your career, you need to understand how things are being done in the back end. So I dealt in the past with managers where just, I want this and these tasks done, but they didn't understand what was the effort behind those tasks to get those things accomplished. So my idea from day one was to make sure that my technical foundations were very solid. How do you get that? By coding, understanding new languages, learning every day, and especially in computer science, everything changes so fast that you have to keep yourself up to date, right? So having that technical background was like the first step to get to a better managerial position. Then when you start coding, your career comes to a path where you have to actually make a decision. You become either an architect in technology, which basically a lot of people are super talented. They understand the entire cloud infrastructure and code, what happens actually behind coding. So you choose that path, or you choose like the managerial path. So I had my technical background solid, and I chose the other path because I would, again, it's a matter of choice. But for me, being a manager, being able to guide new teams, apply everything that I learned from my technical background and help achieve those goals to other people and across the company is what drove me to be more on that side of the company. I always wanted to grow in the managerial space. I think that's a space where you can grow a lot, you can learn a lot, and you can apply every skill that you learn on the technical side also on the managerial side.
Yeah, because I was honestly just thinking like the managerial space is like one where you can't if there is that disconnect between what you're telling people to do and what and like what goes into that, if there is that disconnect, it really messes up the pipeline of what's happening with that company.
That's true because as a manager you cannot expect to know everything, and the successful of a manager is to be surrounded by super smart people, and I've been blessed and super lucky with that, and I'm surrounded with super smart people, rock stars along the way. It's just that you're right. If you don't understand what things are, like what are the things that you actually need to do to finish a task or complete a project, it's going to be very, very hard for you to judge timelines, to judge the quality of the deliverables, right? So as you were saying, it will mess the entire pipeline, right? You want to make sure that you have a clear idea of what entails what you actually need to do to finish something. So yes, you're right. The more you know about what happens behind the scenes, the better manager you can be.
How has the Moderna vaccine development changed the way data engineering at Moderna has been managed, considering what I'm guessing was quite a large increase in data points?
Yeah, well, the data has been always at the center of Moderna. Moderna is a company born in the cloud with AI always, as a goal, as a mindset, as things that we do daily. So at the beginning, we used to collect a lot of data points. We were growing our platform, our vaccine platform, and we needed to know what's happening. In the recent years, of course, that platform exploded and started growing exponentially, which is great. So that means, as you were saying, a lot of new data points and new data sets that we didn't know how to control. So what we did was take a step back, right? Make sure that we have a plan, because the company is going to keep growing. Our platform keeps growing every day. So we went in the last 3 years from 500 employees to employees. Now we are scattered all over the globe. We have offices in Switzerland, Poland, United States, and many locations in the States as well. So gathering all that data point, making sure that everything is organized, that you have a strategy for scalability and growth is key. So yes, everything on our world, in my world of data engineering, we had to take that step back, make sure that we have a solution that can scale not only in the cloud and how we design those systems to organize the data and store it, but also how are we going to provision that data across the company. At the end, the data is just data. It's the context that you bring to the data that makes that data powerful, and that's what we want. Unlock the power of data, not only for our teams, but for every vertical of the company, right? You work with data on HR, you work with data on the clinical platform, preclinical, commercial, finance. We want to make sure that we give that. So it's been a challenge. I'm not gonna say it has been like easy, but it's one of those challenges that you want to face, that tests your abilities, right?
Yeah.
And that's why this is a journey that I probably will never be able to live again. It's been amazing.
So what does a normal workday look like for you? And did that change from a company of 500 to a company?
Definitely, right? Because I joined Moderna when we were very, very little, 7.5 years ago almost. And very startup mindset, right? Like you wear many hats during the day and you do a lot of different tasks. You do PM work, you do coding, you do database, you do organization, planning, budgeting. You do a lot of stuff by yourself because it was a startup. But as you keep growing, you don't have the time to do that anymore. You have to focus and be more specialized on the things that you do. And then I have been lucky to, again, as I said before, being surrounded by very smart people in my team, so I can delegate those tasks. So back in the day, wear many hats, do a lot of stuff and grind every day, hard work. Now we have more work. The work hasn't slowed, or the workload is even bigger now. But it's my day to day is more on planning and strategic thinking as a manager. Where are we going to go in the next 6 months? How are we going to plan for the next big, change, the next new vaccine, the next new booster, the next new program? How are we going to be able to support different teams with our cloud infrastructure, with the things that happen? So that means that we have a lot of meetings. My day is full of meetings, but still I keep myself very close to the technical aspect of the things that we do. I want to make sure that my team and myself, we have a clear plan on how to get there. But my day to day, a lot of meetings, a lot of planning, making sure that we have a plan for 6 months, for 10 years, and how we accomplish that. And align those plans with everything that happens around the company, right? My team is just one team, but we are an entire company that we need to make sure that we are all aligned on the same vision. And the vision is to be a fully digital biotech company. And that takes a lot of effort, that takes a lot of coordination. But when everybody is aligned, you get to the goal. Yeah.
It's fantastic. So what type of problems do you face on a daily basis?
Well, a lot. And I don't see them as problems. I see them as challenges. So challenges make you better and force you to learn new stuff, to try new paths. So I love new challenges, and the more the merrier. So there are, I would say, that two different type of challenges. One is the organization, and it's like the plan for the year or for the next 6 months. How you coordinate all of that with other teams and make sure that your timelines are aligned, that deliverables are on time, that you're actually completing the goals and helping to achieve those goals from different teams. So that's one of the biggest problems we have, because we keep growing, so there are a lot of demand. And in Moderna, we really work at a fast-paced environment. One of our key mindsets, we have 12, but one of the key ones are like pivot fearlessly. So that means that you have to, be able to be nimble and change the goals, maybe not the end goal, but how you achieve those goals fast. And we work in parallel a lot. So a lot of projects come along the way. You have to make sure that you have to deliver on all of them. So that's one of the problems. And then from the technical point of view, more than problems or challenges is the fact that technology changes every day. New products come every day. And we want to make sure that we deliver like top edge technology to everything that we do as a company. So in my team particularly, or in my world of data engineering, Amazon is a big partner of us. and we work very close with them, Amazon Web Services. So we want to make sure that that those challenges of trying new technologies, making sure that we have proof of concepts that actually align and are suitable for the requests that we have today, are one of the things that we have to face every day. So we keep changing, we keep evolving. Nothing is static from the technical point of view. So it's a great challenge to have.
So, creating those long-term goals, like 10-year, 5-year plans, is that how have those goals just completely, I guess, or did they change when you did have this exponential growth? And working with your partners, has that, like, with this growth, has that partnership changed in dynamic, or is it still the same?
No, it definitely changed, right? The goals, let's say 3 years ago, the goals were very, very ambitious because we knew what we had from day one and how our mRNA technology was going to change the way that we create vaccines. And our platform being like a cloud-based platform, technology-based platform, is something that has never been done in biotech before. So the goals are still we're very ambitious still, but now that we have the ability to actually grow and invest more, we have more budget for investment internally, that actually make those goals even more ambitious, right? But that only can be achieved by evolving those relationships that you were mentioning with other teams across the company. And that's one of the key things here. We have one of our values is being collaborative, and collaborative is the key because we as a team in data engineering, we are but if your data doesn't impact anything or doesn't unlock any power or doesn't help you make decisions, it's useless. So we need to work every day, and we keep working every day to build those bridges with other teams, right? Make sure that we, even though we don't speak the same language, we don't speak finance, we don't speak HR, but HR they might not speak technology. So working on those partnerships is key for us to make sure that we keep evolving as a company, right? And making sure that the relationship with other teams makes us only stronger. So it has changed. New people come into the company very often, and we value all of those new set of eyes, new perspectives. Those are very valuable.
When you arrived at Moderna, was the database already based in the cloud? And if not, how did you transfer all of that data?
It was actually.
It was?
It was pretty good because, again, as I mentioned before, we were a cloud-based company. But the problem back in the day, again, was that it was just small company, small startup with a lot of ambitions. So one of the abilities of the cloud is that you can scale pretty fast, but also that comes with a cost. So you have to actually design a plan to make sure that your cost aligns with your expectations and your budget and all of the things that come into picture. But it was in the cloud, but we keep evolving. Technology keeps changing. So now we have massive data warehouses. We have data lakes for non-structured data. We combine those two in what technology is calling today lake houses. So make sure that you can query all that non-structured and structured data. And now, with the new evolution of technology, the new buzzword is data mesh. So people want to get into that data mesh world and how you use federated data so you don't have to ingest everything. So it's a lot of changes. We keep evolving. The data was in the cloud. We keep having everything in the cloud. But on such a regulated space as biotech or life sciences companies, you still deal with systems that are like legacy systems that never evolve into a cloud-based environment. So you still have to work with those systems, with those vendors, with those companies to be able to put everything in the cloud somehow. Because our goal, again, as I said, is centralize the data and make sure that we unlock that power of the data.
All right, got it. So what are some advantages that cloud storage has given Moderna other than just quickly scaling up your company?
Well, cloud is everything should be in the cloud because the ability for you to scale is just a couple of clicks away. You can spin up new databases, new data warehouses with just a couple of clicks, or enhance your current infrastructure with the same couple of clicks. As I said before, everything comes as a cost, right? Because you have to pay for what you use. In our case, in Amazon Web Services, that's where we deploy most of our solutions. So cloud storage is key. It has a lot of resilience, has a lot of high availability, which is what we pursue. So making sure that, let's say, if a system fails down, there is always a failover solution, so you just never Your downtime has to be reduced to zero if possible. It's impossible to say that the cloud will be 100% reliable, but in our goal and when we stand today, 99% of the time we are like always online, which is it's a win. So you can only achieve that by doing that on the cloud, and having everything in the cloud also gives you the ability not only to achieve your goals internally, but also to interact with external companies as well, right? Moderna has a lot of partnership with different companies, and we want to make sure that we can exchange safely, securely, on time, in a timely manner, data sets, and that we can access theirs as well, right? To make sure that we all have a full overview of what's happening and how we're gonna use those extra data sets in this particular scenario to get to our goals.
And that's obviously where you come in, where you are finding how much data are we going to need to store in these 5-10 years. That's fantastic. What is the main problem that you face, or main challenge that you face in the Department of Data Engineering at Moderna?
We face different challenges, which makes us better, but I would say that the main one is that cultural shift of biotech industry being in the cloud. Again, a lot of a lot of legacy systems and very regulated systems that are not in the cloud by nature, by design, because whatever we have to submit to different government authorities requires for those systems to not be in the cloud. So is that shift, that change that makes us think in the cloud for all those systems as well. Again, and I mean, some of the other challenges that we face are building those bridges with different teams, make sure that we bring context to data, and make sure that we add the right metadata to the data to actually mean something. The main goal for us is to make sure that we can paint a full life cycle of a data set. So we want to know what, for example, how you design your mRNA sequences, but then how do you order them? How do you ship them? How do you use them in vitro studies? How do you use them in vivo studies? And then at the end of that path, for example, of that single data set, how do you can be better? The dosing, the amount of mRNA that you injected, or all those designs in the schedule, when did you do this and that? We need to be able to trace all of that and make sure that at the end we offer a solution to be better, to be able to design machine learning models, for example, right? To avoid time, save money, and be more efficient. mRNA is changing the way that everybody does vaccines, speed up the process of everything that we do, but that only can be done if we are able to, trace the lineage of all those data sets and make sure that we paint that full picture and life cycle of that data point. And that's just one data point. And when you think about everything that we get, that's the challenge, right? Making sure that everybody, that path and that picture happens for every division. Now, same thing what happens with finance, what happened with HR. When you hire somebody, you want to know, for example, how long did the job posting was online? How long did it took them to find the right person? How it can be more efficient to find the right talent? And that happens across every vertical of the company. So it's a challenge everywhere, but it's challenges that we love to face.
So I have a question about those legacy storage data sets. Do you have to transfer from your cloud data to that legacy to give those agencies, or I'm not quite sure what they are, your data set for, let's say, creating a new vaccine or creating a new medicine? Or is it that they have that data set and you want to transfer that to the cloud?
It's more the latter. We want to make sure that we transfer that data sets into our cloud, because when data sets are on systems and isolated, it's like siloed data. Siloed data is useless. It's useful for certain use cases, but the more metadata and context you add to a data set, then again, you can paint the full picture of what's happening to that data set across the company. But those systems are designed like that because when let's say you want to place documentation against a government agency for a vaccine, for a product, for a drug candidate, all those things have to come with the standard procedures and making sure that we follow the steps that we were guided by these agencies. So it's we get the data into our world to make sure that we add more context and drive decisions internally. But sometimes the data that lives on those systems are the one that has to go externally for those, like, paperwork and all those filings that we have to do as a company.
All right. Where do you believe the future of data storage is going? And how can young people be a part of it?
I think that we're going to keep going into the cloud. Data is extremely powerful. It's the best commodity that any company has these days. But it's only as powerful as the decisions that it can drive, right? That it will, how efficient can data make you? How can you train your ML models or machine learning models to make sure that you are more efficient, you can predict the stuff? So data has been very reactive in the recent decades, I would say. But now we're moving into a stage where the data is going to help you be more proactive. You need to identify stuff before it happens. So we collect a lot of data for that. So the data science and artificial intelligence teams can build those ML models and help you predict those behaviors and make you faster. That's where we're going. Still in the cloud, because that's where the compute power is. Today you can spin up servers that you were never even able to think about back in the day, or it'll cost you thousands of dollars. I'm not saying that today are cheap or are not, but definitely cheaper than before. And you can spin those up with a couple of clicks again and run your ML models on those or AI projects. For young people, it's going to be easier because I feel like the new generations are closer to technology that we were. So being close to technology it's a key, right? Amazon, in this case, for example, makes technology very approachable for everybody. All their cloud services are very accessible, even for your personal accounts. You can store your files in the cloud. You can create your own servers in the cloud and just pay for what you use. And usually it's very, very reasonable for a personal use. So young people, just close to technology. People, I feel like your generation and the generations behind you are like even more, technology comes more natural to you. You were born where technology was already there and available. You didn't have to go through the process of learning, like the first cell phone, we went through all of that. So when we moved from Discmans to MP3 players, now you have everything on your phone. So you guys are closer to technology than ever. So keep building on that, keep building on that and making sure that you're close to that and keep yourself close to that evolution is going to help the next generation to be even better at what we do today.
So next stage of data analysis is definitely AI, you would say?
It's not the next, it's what's happening today.
Right now.
Yeah, AI and ML models, that's what happens today. Moderna use that every day. We have a dedicated team for that. The data, the power of that data can only be unlocked in projects like that. We get a lot of data sets that are massive, right? Just for some context, we get, let's say, tables on the database that had more than 82 billion rows each and hundreds of columns. And that for the human eye, it's impossible to digest. For BI tools, it's impossible to digest too. You cannot make an educated decision based on 82 billion rows of data. But AI and ML, that's what they come into picture. They can actually train their models on those data sets that are massive and understand how that works. So data today, back in the day, used to be gigabytes of data was a big thing. We get petabytes of data on a daily basis. So those AI and ML projects are the ones that are driving the insights of those massive data sets today. So AI and ML is happening today. Today it's happening. So we need to be sure that we keep evolving on that.
Do you think that young people now in 10 years time are going to be able to make an impact on how AI calculates or goes through data? Or do you think that in 10 years our formers will already have used much of the extent of AI's capacities?
No, I think that the options there are limitless because we are using algorithms that took 10 years to design or 10 years to train. And we're using those today, right? So it took them years to evolve into the things that we do today. So what we do today might be the ones that you're going to use in the next 10 years, right? All those algorithms that are being designed today for different fields are the ones you're going to use in the next 10 years. So AI is just, even though it's happening today, the options and the possibilities are endless. I mean, new generations, new ideas, new data sets. Our ecosystem around us in every possible way keeps changing, right? Data sets are becoming more and more available, more accessible for everybody. And not only in the mRNA space or biotech space, but in finance, HR, commercial, retail, everything keeps evolving because we keep changing. Everything keeps changing so fast that those models are become obsolete pretty soon. So there is always a challenge not a challenge, but an opportunity for newcomers to come and design new AI projects, design new ML models, train models on new data sets. So I feel like there is always an opportunity there. And in this particular case, in this particular business of AI and ML, the options are limitless.
Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I couldn't have asked for a better interview. I'm sure that many young entrepreneurs will greatly benefit from your knowledge and experience. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Sebastian. Super happy to be able to be here with you.
Thank you.